Dr. Cowan, what do you think about vaccines being the cause of certain allergies, like to eggs, chicken, meat, peanuts, etc., by way of the use of proteins like albumin in the shots? So, first of all, we have to define what an allergy is because that's largely a misconception. Again, this goes back to the problem of if you breathe something in that's not good for you and then you get a cough and get mucus, is the cough and the mucus a disease called allergies, or is it the therapy of and your body's way of getting rid of something that you shouldn't get in your body? And I think it's pretty obvious that it's the second. But the problem comes when, what if we're talking about like birch trees or cats, for God's sake? So you have this excessive reaction just simply to being around cats or birch trees or pine pollen, things that by all estimation should be normal part of our human existence. So that's where it becomes an issue and I would say a problem. And what I would say about that is that means that the person is, I would say, use the word over exuberant in getting things out of their body. So, in other words, there's no reason to have to make that much of an emotion, of a physiological and sometimes emotional reaction to a birch tree or a cat. Although, interestingly, and I haven't tested this out except a little bit, I've heard that cats who eat a very natural diet, which is basically raw meat and, game that they kill like rabbits and mice and birds, and that's their diet, actually are far less allergenic than cats that eat normal-ish for these days kibble and cat food. And that's basically what our cats eat, of course, is, they just eat raw meat and liver and things like that, and they catch their own food. And we've definitely had people who claim to be allergic, highly allergic to cats, um, who don't seem to have reactions around our cats. So it's possible that may play into it, that it's something the cats are giving off that the people are appropriately reacting to. But um, what I think is happening with the vaccines and allergens, because I do think it's possible. So, in other words, what's possible is that they inject you with something which is a traumatic and emotionally charged and emotionally traumatic experience for any child. So it's a physiological trauma and a psychological emotional trauma. Every single vaccine, every single time. There's no getting around that. There's no healthy or safe or any vaccine that you can give that has no repercussions. That's simply not possible. They can be mild and you can seemingly be normal, but every actual vaccine has a negative repercussion. So, what I think might happen is that if there's peanut proteins or egg proteins in that vial because of where it was grown or how it was processed, or that they put some sort of peanut product in it in order to use it as an adjuvant or just to help the the viscosity or something in that final product. So then you're injected with a foreign protein and you have this strong physiological and emotional reaction, so which is in your body uses an inflammatory response to try to cleanse itself of that insult, and then it somehow remembers every time you eat peanuts, you remember that this was essentially a physiological and psychological emotional shock, and then you have what we call a peanut allergy, and that can seemingly happen for the rest of your life until you identify that that's what happened and maybe somehow help the person work their way through the trauma that happened to them. So yes, I do think that's happened. I don't think that I've seen that it's documented as the cause, because I think that would be extremely difficult to do, for the reason that you could never identify. Nobody has ever been injected with just pure peanut protein vaccine, with nothing else in it but peanut proteins, and then develop peanut allergies in any kind of study that I know of. So that would be the only way to say that's the cause. So I'm not claiming the cause, but I am wondering whether that is a possible mechanism. And in any case, there's a whole lot of reasons never to do a vaccine anyways. So that may be one of them.